Hello guys, my name is Michael. We are going to move on with our GTK scale widget, and let us take a short brief about things which we learned in the last tutorial. And these things are quite clear. We learn almost all these functions. The function which we didn't use them, maybe we are going to use them later in some other context. If not, this is a good homework for you to see those getters right here. Anyway, a short brief will be, we are talking about how to create a scale, a new scale, set draw value, its value position and digits, and then later we saw how we create a new scale with the help of range. We set it if it has an origin, and we added some marks, we cleared them, and then we saw what's the story with getting its layout. Anyway, at this point we were learning how to create a scale with range. So basically, if we created this with range, we know somehow that the range has to do maybe somehow, I know what would you think about this part with a scale. We know, of course, something, because we talked about this in the last tutorials, and that is that GTK scale itself. If we go to object hierarchy right here, we see that the scale there is from GtkRange and so on. So basically, GTK scale inherits everything what GtkRange has, and this means somehow this one it is its child. Well, if you so, let us see. Here it is the GtkRange, which at this point you should know already that the GtkRange is the base class for widgets which visualize an adjustment. So let's see which kind of function so we can use from here today. There are a lot of them. We are not going to talk about them now, we have time, but I'm going to start with this ones right here, these fill levels, and I'm going to choose this one and says set a new position of the fill level indicator. Okay, so basically we should maybe show fill level. No, get okay, let us read this one. So it says a new position of the fill level indicator. So this means the fill level is probably best described by its most prominent use case, which is an indicator for the amount of pre-buffering in a streaming media player. In that use case, the value of the range will indicate the current play position, and the fill level will be the position up to which the fill stream has been downloaded. So this means we have a fill level, as it says here, and the value of the range will indicate the current play position, so that's the value, and the fill level will be the position up to which the file stream has been downloaded. What this means? Well, let us go a little bit to YouTube, and we're going to see exactly what's the story with this. Here's a good example. Okay, we are here, we are on YouTube now, we are searching something, GTK3 CSS. Now we are going to take the, let's see how long is this one. 21 minutes. It's fine. So we are going to take this one right here, and as the reference says, again the value of the range will indicate the current play position. So the value of the range will be this one, this red dot right here. This is the value, and then said, and fill level will be the position up to which the file stream has been downloaded. So that means that this is the buffering part. You see this white thing right here, which indicates the buffering part. So basically this is that important thing which you need to know when you work with these functions, and for now it should be enough for us, and we are going to talk about this somehow later and not now in this video. Okay, that being said, we know what's the story with them, so we are not going to use those things, and remained for us a bunch of functions to be used, and I choose from them some of them, and basically they are here. We are going to start with the first one, GtkRange set inverted, which is right here, and says this function, it is a function which returns nothing, void, and takes two parameters, which is the range itself and g boolean, which is true or false. So ranges normally move from lower to higher values as the slider moves from top to bottom or left to right. Inverted range have higher value at the top or at the right rather than at the bottom or left. So that being said, let us check our program, though it is. So now we have it the horizontal, which is like here, and we have the value of 0 here, and if we move the slider, then if we come here we have the value of 10. So basically it's from left to right. Not the same story happens if you maybe expect it when you choose the vertical one, which means now the value doesn't go from bottom to top. Maybe you are expecting that here will be 0 and 10 will be there, but it is not, because this widget was rotate from left to top. This means clockwise, and maybe this behavior you don't like it, and if you don't like it, maybe you want to change it. So if you want to change it, then you just call this function GtkRange set inverted, GtkRange and our scale, and of course the g boolean setting, which we are going to set it to true. Now I'm going to compile it and run it, and bam, now looks like probably what you needed, and which means now the indicator is down here, and as you can see the value is 0, and when we are going up the value increases to 10, which is fine. Basically we managed to succeed the thing which we all wanted to succeed. Okay, so that being said, let us see the next function. Now we know what this function does. GtkRange set value. I think I already know what this thing does, but let us see. Sets the current value of the range. If the value is outside the minimum or maximum range value, it will be clamped to fit inside them. So let's see if the value is outside. Says yes. Okay, so let us call this function set inverted, and here we are going to say set value. Now let us set the value. So I'm going to copy this part right here because I don't want to type it again. And the value, it says, so what do we know? When we create a GtkScale range, we know that the min is 0, 0 and the max is 10. So let us give it another value now. How about 11? What will happen now? Well, it will try to fit between two this, so this means it will take the maximal. Yes, 10. It cannot take 11, isn't it? No, it can't, because the value should clamp between these two values. Should fit between two values. If not, then GTK will set it for you. So basically I will set 5, and now our scale position, it is in the middle at the 5, as you can see, and it works fine. Okay, now let's move on. Let us mark it as read and set increments. Set increments, it is right here, but I want to check it. Okay, it is again a function which does nothing, void, and takes 3 parameters. Sets the step and the page size for the range. The step size is used when the user clicks the GTK scroll bar, arrow, or moves GtkScale, in our case with arrow case. The page size is used, for example, moving via page up, page down. So now before we call this function, let us run this program, and if we see here where we are creating this scale with a range, we said that the minimum should be 0, the maximum should be 10, and we were creating only the page, the step to 1. So this means when I use now my arrows, arrow down, arrow up, basically it works fine. But when I'm hitting now the page up and page down, it just jumps for 0 to 10. So we have no setted value, which is bad. We should set it. So basically this is what we are going to do now. We are going to set this problem. So as you can see, it takes the first parameter, the GtkRange. The second one, it said, the second one said is the step. We are going to let the same one right here, 1 0, but this time we are going to use the page increment to 2.0. So now when I'm compile it and run it, if I use my arrow, works fine. If I use now page up and page down, 2 4 6 8 10 8 6 4 2 0. So now it works basically fine, which is a good thing for us. I want to tell you something. When you create a scale with the range without an adjustment, there are some things which they are not working. And no, we are not going to talk now. We are going to talk when we are coming to creating the story again, when we are working with adjustment. Anyway, GTK set range, set increments. As you can see now, we can set them their values, the step and the page, to different values, and more important is the page 1, because we have here only the step 1 when we're creating with the range. The range itself, it doesn't let you to set the page 2 when you create the new scale, the scale new with range. Okay, that being said, let us mark it as done. Now we have GtkRange set range. So let's go back. GtkRange set range is right here. It is again a function which returns nothing, takes 3 parameters, and as you can already notice, sets the allowable values in the GtkRange and clamps the range value to be between min and max. So again, it sets the value in the GtkRange, the allowable value, okay, which is means is a value which should be allowed, and clamps the range value, that range value to be between min and max. If the range has a non-zero page size, it is clamped between min and max minus page size. You remember when we were talking about page size? Now here is the part. Maybe if I don't forget, because I cannot set now, I need the adjustment to set the page size. So if I not forget and I will remember, I will come back to this function and you will see that if you set the page size, but I'm going to talk that just in theory. Now let's say the minimum value is 1, the max value is 5, and the page size is 2. Okay, so basically what says here, if the range has non-zero page size, it will clamp it between min and max minus pi. So basically the clamped value will be not between 1 and 5, it will be between 1 and 5 minus 3, so or minus or minus 2, whatever which value you put here. But we are going to talk about now. Let us call this function the way it is, GtkRange set range, which takes 3 parameters. The first argument which we are going to use is its range, the second one is the minimum, and the next one is the maximum. When we are creating here the GtkScale new, we said the minimum will be 0 and the maximum will be 10. These things this behavior we can change it if we want. Set range, and we are going to call this function. Of course, the first one, it is our range, and now because we had 0 to 10, we are going to say this time 1.0 to no, 5.0, okay? Or better, let us use 7.5, okay? Now we change the minimum and the maximum values. Let's see, it works almost fine. It doesn't work 7.5, isn't it? Well, we said here GtkRange set range has three parameters, isn't it? So the last one, it is a G double. So basically, why would one take a G double if we cannot set 7.5? I mean, boo. What's wrong with this? Well, we are going to talk in another tutorial about this part, because it is not object of our tutorial. Well, I just want to show you that, so how the program was created, its behavior doesn't allow you to create other values than than integer values, if I can call them. So this means if you need double values, then you need to set something on this. Okay, so I'm going to use now 8.0, and now when I run the program, you'll see that our value stays in the middle, 5, where we choose to have it, not in the middle, where we choose to have it at 5, and lower will be 1, and upper or max will be 8. Okay, so that being said, it works fine. You need to know something, and that being said, it says here, and clamps the range value to be between min and max. So this means we set here to be the value to be 5. This means when we compile and run the program, it will set to 5, because we said 1 is lower and 8 will be our upper or our max in this case. Now let us set it to 4, and as you already noticed, by setting this to 4, this value cannot be 5 anymore, isn't it? No, it can't. So this means it will clamp to the next possible value, which in this case, being this one bigger than this one, it will set it to this value, which is the upper one, 4. Or if we had maybe a page size, then the story will be much different. Okay, so that being said, testing is the GtkRange set range, what this function does. And now, okay, and now let us check the last function from this video, GtkRange set flippable. Let's see what this one does. So let's search it, let's find it, there we go, it's right down here, and says it is a function which takes 2 parameters and returns nothing, and says if a range is flippable, it will switch its direction. If it is horizontal and its direction is GTK text direction right to left, RTL, well then see GTK Widget get direction. Whoa. If a range is flippable, okay, it will switch its direction. Now let's see what's the story with this story. So let us call this function, and right here let's call it set flippable, and of course we are going to need this one right here, the scale, and we are going to set it to true. So let us see. Our scale goes from 1 to 4. I see no changes here. Okay, let us set it to false, see what happens. Our scale now is here, and we go all the way down. I still see no difference. Let me run again. Maybe you notice something, maybe I don't. I'm going to compile it and run it. Our scale is at the position 4 and we go all the way down, so we see no changes. Let us go a little bit back to this function and says if a range is flippable, it will switch its direction. Now, there you go. Now there's something here which we didn't pay attention. If it is horizontal, again, if it is horizontal and its direction of the text is right to left, okay, now looks different. Let us see what happens if we pass this time horizontal argument. Let's compile it and run it. Let's see what happens. Okay, we need to stop the inverted part because it's quite crazy. We don't need it. Let us have the scale the way it is. So now we have the value of 4. We go all the way down and we go to 1. Okay, we see no changes. Now let's set it to false and see now what happens. Now we still have no changes. I mean, what's the story with this function? Anyway, set flippable. Let's go back and says true to set the range flippable. Okay, but it has to be working. I mean, I know because I used this function somehow, and here as you can see it doesn't shows us that this function wants to work. So basically set flippable scale, let me set it back to true. We have the increments. Let us see again flippable. Strange, because I was expecting, you see this green loading bar right here which disappears once that we go from right to left. Well, at this point it should be on the right side. Let us run again the inverted, set it to true, and it's definitely inverts this thing. But not the way how. Okay, false. Okay, set to false, and now we're going to set back to true. It's quite crazy because it said if it's horizontal, so I set it horizontal, but I see no changes, like I was expecting to have them at this point. So the value is 0. Okay, now we have something here. Watch, we are on the 0 position. Why it's not working the other way? We have the 0 position. It's the 0 is right here, and you see the green part. It's up here. Or maybe I'm wrong. Let me select false and see what happens. No, I'm wrong. Anyway, I'm going to make a little bit of research about this function. Maybe I understand it wrong. If you know better what's the story of this function, just leave a comment, and we are going to discuss about this one in future videos. Anyway, I think it's enough for today. We saw some new function, we saw some new actions which we can take on this scale and so on, and basically we know how to apply GtkRange functions to our scale. So that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you like it, please subscribe, share with your friends and neighbors, and until next time, see you guys.